In Google, they have this concept called groups for shared mailboxes. And this feature allows multiple users to have visibility to the shared mail list whenever a customer or one of the members reply within the conversation. So now you're wondering, how does CloudExtend Gmail for NetSuite work with the shared mailboxes? And that is simple. As long as there is a open email and also a logged in Gmail account that has an active Google license, then our add-on will work with the group mailbox. But one thing to note is that our add-on does not work for delegated accounts. So in this video, I want to demonstrate how to work in a group mailbox and use CloudExtend Gmail for NetSuite to sync the emails to the relevant NetSuite records. But before even going through the demonstration, we will need to go over the configurations and how to set up the CloudExtend Gmail for NetSuite to work with the shared group mailboxes. So the first step here in the configuration is to ensure that you have a group. So if you don't have a group, I would recommend going through the steps on creating a group. There are plenty of videos on YouTube to kind of highlight and show you what you'll need to do and configure a group inside of your Google account. So within this list of groups, as you can see, we created a group called Sales CloudExtend IO. It has this email address that has salescloudextend@celigo.in. And this right here is going to be just a test shared inbox I want to show you for our demonstration today. But once you have configured this as the first step, you want to make sure that you add in all the members. And once you add in all the members, all of them have active Google accounts. So whenever a email or conversation that is sent from a customer into this group email address, it will show up in all of the users' inbox. And once they see that email, they can actually reply to that email and be able to reply to the customer. So now that we have established that we have a group account, then our group that is created within your Google account, let's go into the next step. So the next step that we're going to do here is going to be done at a end user level. So this next step for the configuration, a end user will need to go into their individual Gmail account. And once they're in the Gmail interface, they're going to go to the settings, go to see all settings, and under accounts, they're going to go to the section that says send mail as, and under this section, they're already going to have their email address associated right here, but they'll need to also add in a alias. So the alias is going to be the email address that you want to create and configure on your Gmail account as an alias email address. So once you have that there, you can actually go through and be able to reply as this email address rather than the individual's primary email address here. So one thing, once after the user configures it, let me just edit the info so you can kind of see what I added here. The user will add in the name of the alias group or the group shared mailbox name, and then also the email address of that alias. So once we have added that, we can save. And once you save and confirm, they're going to have to go through a configuration or confirmation code. That confirmation code is probably going to be sent to their individual email address so they can add it into this configuration here. So once that's configured, the one last step that they will need to do here is make sure that they go under when replying to a message, it's going to be sent and reply from the same address the message was sent to. So if a customer sends the email to this alias email address, this option will essentially allow the users, whoever the member is, to reply back as that alias and as this alias name right here as well. So it's basically not going to be sent to an individual. So it's not going to be directed to a specific individual of the member or of the group. So now that we've gone through the configuration and the setup from an end user standpoint, let's go through the demonstration and show you how CloudExtend Gmail for NetSuite works with the shared group mailboxes. So going back into the individual's main inbox right here, you can see that I don't have any email address or emails that come in from a customer. So that's a great way to kind of show you how when it comes in, it will show up in the individual's inbox, but it will also be able to be filtered. As we all know that Gmail allows you to filter and create labels out of that. So as a user, end user, you can actually filter this and filter that email to come into this Sales Cloud Extend label. This is just an example based off of your name. You just name the label as based off of your group name. And once the email comes in here, it will also show up under the group conversation within this group component right here. So in here, you're going to also see that email coming in from a customer. And if the members want to reply here, they can do that. But typically, I would suggest the end users to reply back within this label and in this inbox, or if they want to reply inside of their individual inbox, they can do that. But I would say work off of this label and reply within this view when it comes to replying to a customer. So now let's start with our demonstration. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to send an email into our inbox. So once it shows up in this primary inbox, it's also going to show up in my Sales Cloud Extend label. So once it shows up here, I want to show you that it also shows you inside of this group view as well. So once the email comes in, it's going to show up under the conversations. So now let's go back into Gmail, and I'm going to start by sending an email. So now that our email came in, you can see that within this email, there's this prefix that is added here. So it's a double bracket. It's a bracket with the name of my group. So in this case, my group name is Sales Cloud Extend. You can add this within the configuration in your groups when you do set up your groups itself. So the cool thing about this added prefix is that you can actually use this as a filter. And once you use this as a filter, you can filter into your label for your group alias right here. So as you can see, it shows up under my alias, but it also shows up in my primary inbox. So if I want to reply in my primary inbox, I can do that. But in this case, like I suggested before, have the users work off of this view in the label itself for the group alias right here. It shows up here in both of those inboxes, but also if I go into my group, it also shows up here. So if I refresh the page, you're going to see that the email pops up here. The users do have an option to reply here, but like I suggested, definitely work off of this label and this message, because once we open up this message inside of Gmail, you can also use CloudExtend as an add-on. But let me do this. Let me also always show suggested records. If I click on suggest related records, you can see that the customer and the employee record based off of the email address and name, it does show up right here because it looks at the sender's email address and name, but also the email address of the recipient as well. So in this case, I have this email open, and if I were to click on this customer record right here, if you do have autopilot feature for a enterprise edition subscription that you have, you can turn this on and then hit associate email to the NetSuite record that you have selected, and it will sync and it will turn on autopilot for that purpose. But for this demonstration, I'm just going to use it to sync a regular email to the NetSuite record. So once I selected the record, I'm going to go down to associate email, and in just a few seconds, this email will be synced to that record. And once it's synced to that record, if we go back into NetSuite to take a look at that record, that email will show up under that customer record itself. So now if we go into NetSuite, into that customer record that we have synced the email to, and let me just refresh the page. So once we refresh this NetSuite page for this customer record that we have, and we go down to messages, you can see that the email that we have synced has shown up here. It also shows you the timestamp and date of the email that came in. You can drill down into it and look at it, and essentially it creates an email record. So it's a hard copy of the communication inside of your customer record. So one last thing I want to show you here is going to be the reply to email address. So let's just say, let's go back into that email thread that we have from the customer. And if I click on this reply, and if I click on this, you can see that the from, or the individual that is going to be sending a reply to the customer, it shows up as Sales Cloud Extend, and then the email address is salescloudextend@celigo.in. You can also change this if you want. If you want to send directly from yourself, you can click on the drop down and it gives you the option to select yourself. But this goes back to the options where we can add the alias and reply as the alias, or if we want to reply as the primary email address, we can do that as well. But this is one of the added features of leveraging Google's functionality, and then in combination of using CloudExtend to sync all of these replies and these messages from email thread into the NetSuite records. So now that we've seen the configuration and demo on how CloudExtend Gmail for NetSuite works with shared Google Mailboxes, you can give it a try and see how it will boost your productivity. And if you run into any issues, please send us a chat, and you can find the chat window to be right here on the bottom right hand corner. If you click on it, it brings you directly into this chat view, and there's this option where you can send us a message. And when you click on it, just start a conversation with one of our support members, and one of our support members will reply back to you as soon as possible. Hopefully this video helped, and thank you for watching this video.